Part 1 Half-Low. Full betrayal. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to feel relief when someone disappeared from my life. But when my half-brother, Eli, turned 15 and my half-sister, Mara, turned 12, I realized that's exactly what I felt. Relief, not guilt. Because the truth is I hate their father. I've hated him for as long as I can remember, and I don't hide it. It started when my dad, my biological father, the man who raised me alongside my full sister, Lily, told me that he had remarried. Her name was Vanessa. She was smart, charming, and the kind of woman who smiled like she already knew she was going to win. Within a year of marrying my dad, she was pregnant. And just like that, I had to have siblings I didn't ask for. Eli and Mara. I tried at first to act normal. I smiled at them, bought them small gifts, went to their school plays. But I couldn't. Every time I looked at them, I saw Vanessa's face. That smug, calculating face that had taken my dad away from the family I thought we had. Every time I hugged them, I felt like I was hugging her instead, and I realized I didn't care. Lily noticed before anyone else. "Why do you act like you hate them?" she asked one night when we were alone in my room. "They're kids. You're supposed to care about them." I laughed, but it wasn't a warm laugh. I do care about what matters, and they don't. They're reminders of him, and I hate him, so I hate them by default. She stared at me for a long time, hurt flashing across her face. You can't choose who to love in a family. You just can't. But I could, and I did. It got worse when Vanessa started asking me to babysit. "You love your little siblings, right?" she would say, all sugar and charm. "You're such a good daughter to them." The words felt like knives. I wasn't a good daughter to them. I was just a reluctant babysitter for strangers who happened to share half my blood. I started saying no. I made excuses. I ignored calls. And every time they looked at me with those hopeful, trusting eyes, I felt my own guilt turn into anger, because I couldn't separate them from their father, and I didn't want to. The tipping point came last summer. My dad asked me to take Eli to baseball practice while he and Vanessa went on a weekend trip. I agreed reluctantly, just to keep the peace. Eli tried to talk to me during the drive. "Annie, I mean, you're like my sister, right?" I clenched the wheel. My jaw hurt from holding back words I knew I shouldn't say. "I'm your half-sister," I said coldly. "There's a difference." He was quiet for the rest of the drive. When we arrived at the field, he hugged me goodbye. A small, awkward hug, and I hated myself for letting him hug me, because it was real, because even after all my anger, he still wanted me to care. That night, Lily confronted me again. "Do you even know what it's like to hold yourself back from someone who doesn't deserve your hate?" I wanted to yell. I wanted to scream at her that she didn't understand, that Vanessa had ruined everything I loved, that the world felt tilted and fair, and I wasn't responsible for loving people I didn't want to love. But instead, I stayed silent, because silence was easier than admitting the truth. And the truth is, I don't care about Eli and Mara. Not the way I care about Lily. Not the way I care about someone I actually chose to love. They're part of a family I didn't choose. A family built on a man I despise. And every time I look at them, I feel the anger I've carried for years. I don't know if he'll ever change. I don't know if I want to. All I know is that I can't lie. Because if I lie, if I pretend to love them, I'd be loving him, and he'll never do that. Part 2. The rift widens. The summer after that baseball practice, everything started to unravel. I thought I could ignore Eli and Mara forever. I thought I could compartmentalize my feelings, tuck them neatly behind my anger at their father. But kids aren't that easy to ignore. Eli started asking questions. "Why don't you ever come to our games? Why don't you ever hang out with us?" And Mara, she would follow me around the house, little hands tugging at my sleeve, eyes wide and hopeful. "Sissy, play with me?" Every time, I felt the old guilt bubble up, raw and shameful. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I didn't want to. It all came to a head on a Friday evening. Dad was at a work dinner. Vanessa had gone shopping. I was stuck at home with the kids. Lily was out with friends. Eli and Mara thought it would be fun to build a fort in the living room. They begged me to help. "Come on, please. It'll be fun." I sighed and grabbed a few blankets. Halfway through, Eli tried to start a conversation. "Why do you hate us?" The words hit like a hammer to the chest. I froze. I looked at him. This kid, so small and untainted by the years of anger I carried, and I realized he could see it. I wanted to tell him it wasn't really them. I wanted to explain that I hated their father, not them. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, I muttered something like, I don't hate you. Just don't expect me to act like I love you. Ellis' eyes went wide, hurt slicing through his face. Mara started crying. I wanted to leave. I wanted to disappear from the fort, from the house, from their lives. But Lily appeared in the doorway. Enough, she said, voice sharp. You can't treat them like this. They're children, and you're older. You're supposed to care. I shook my head. You don't understand. Do you know what it's like to grow up watching your family be destroyed by a stranger? They're not strangers. They're your siblings. Half-siblings, I snapped. And every time I look at them, I see him. I hate him, and I can't separate the two. Silence fell. Mara's cries slowed. Ella's stare burned. For the first time, I saw not just their hurt, but the fear I had planted. Fear that the person they should trust the most, me, had nothing for them. That night, I sat alone in my room, replaying the scene in my head. I hated myself, yes. But more than that, I hated the man who had made me hate my own family. The father who, in remarrying and having more children, had turned my world upside down. And yet, a small, ugly part of me wondered, was this how it felt to be Vanessa? To be someone who could make me feel powerless and guilty with a simple smile or a single word. One didn't want to answer. The next few weeks were worse. Eli started calling me out in front of Vanessa, Dad, even Lily. Why don't you care about us like you care about Lily? You never talk to us. You never help us. Why? I bit my tongue. I couldn't say what I truly thought, because the truth, the full truth, would destroy more than just me. It would destroy them. Vanessa noticed, of course. She began trying to manipulate me. They love you, she said one afternoon as I was leaving for work. If you just tried, they'd adore you. You're making this harder than it has to be. I wanted to scream. You don't get it. You could never understand. Instead, I walked away, because anything I said would only make them stronger in her eyes. She wanted me guilty, weak, bending to her control. By mid-August, the house was a battlefield. The kids whispered about me when they thought I wasn't listening. Vanessa tried subtle manipulation at every turn. Dad was oblivious, assuming I was adjusting to them, oblivious to the storm growing between us. I realized something that scared me more than anything. I wasn't just failing then. I was becoming what I hated. Someone cruel. Someone distant. Someone who let anger dictate how they treated people they should love. And then, one night, after everyone was asleep, I wrote a note. I didn't know if I'd leave it. I didn't know if I'd show it to Dad, Lily, or even the kids. It said, I don't know if I can love you the way I'm supposed to. I hate your father. I hate what has done. But I also hate the person I'm becoming because of him. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't pretend anymore. I left it on the kitchen counter. The next morning, Vanessa was furious. What is this? She yelled. Why are you making this harder than it already is? I didn't answer. I only knew one thing. The chasm between my half-siblings and me wasn't going to close anytime soon. And no one, not even me, could fix it. Part 3. The Breaking Point. By late August, the house had become a battlefield of unspoken resentments. Eli and Mara had started whispering behind my back small comments like, why does she hate us? Mommy says she's just mean. Every word felt like a blade. Every glance felt like an accusation I couldn't defend myself against. And Vanessa, she had sharpened her claws. You're making this about you again, she said one morning as I got ready for work. Stop punishing the kids for your daddy issues. Her tone was sweet, patronizing, the kind of voice that made your anger feel small and irrational. I wanted to yell. I wanted to scream that it wasn't about me. It was about him. But I didn't, because truthfully I didn't know where my anger ended and my cruelty began. The breaking point came on a Thursday evening. Dad had gone to a client dinner. Lily had a late-night study session. Vanessa was out running errands. I was left alone with the kids. Eli came up to me, fists clenched, eyes flashing. Why do you hate us? Why do you care about Lily more than us? Mara clutched his sleeve, teary-eyed. Please, we're your family too. I felt my chest tighten. I could see the hurt in their faces. Real, raw, innocent hurt, and I couldn't lie to them anymore. It's not about you, I said finally, voice trembling. It's about your father. Alice's brow furrowed. What about Dad? I took a deep breath. I hate him. I hate what he did to our family. I hate the way he ruined things for me and Lily. And every time I see you, I'm reminded of him. That's why I'm distant. That's why I don't care the way I should." The words hit the room like a bomb. Mara gasped. Ella's face twisted in shock and anger. "You hate him so much that you hate us?" Eli asked, voice cracking. I wanted to explain, to tell them that they weren't the enemy, but the words tangled in my throat. "I didn't say that," I stammered. I can't separate the two." For a long moment, the room was silent, the kind of silence that's heavier than shouting. And then Mara spoke, softly but sharply. "You don't have to like us, but you could try." Eli nodded. "Yeah, even if you hate Dad, you could at least act like we're your family." The simplicity of it, the innocent logic, cut me deeper than any argument Vanessa or Dad had ever thrown at me. I wanted to leave. I wanted to vanish from their lives completely. But I stayed, because even though I hated their father and even though my anger ran deep, I realized something. Hating them wouldn't protect me. It wouldn't fix anything. It would only make me a reflection of the person I hated. That night, I sat Lily down. I think I've been wrong about Eli and Mara," I admitted, voice heavy. "I've let my anger at their father make me cruel to them, and that's not fair." Lily didn't say anything at first. She just studied my face, waiting. "I don't know if I can love them the way I love you," I continued, "but I want to try. I can't promise I'll always get it right, but I want to try." Lily smiled faintly. "It's a start," she said simply. "That's all that matters." The next morning, I approached Eli and Mara. "I know I've been distant," I said carefully, "and I know I've hurt you. I want to try to be better, even if I don't always get it right." Ella's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "You mean it?" "I mean it," I said. Mara ran and hugged me. Eli hesitated, then joined in. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a sudden fix, but it was a start. Over the next few months, I learned that family isn't always about blood. It's about effort, about choosing even when you don't feel like it. I still hated their father. I still carried that anger like a weight, but I couldn't let it destroy my relationships with the people who weren't responsible for it. And for the first time, I realized something. Hate is easy. Love, even tentative, flawed, half-hearted love, is the real work.